What is up, BenchWire gang? It's me. It's Justin, the new co-host of BenchWire. What's going on? We got some fantasy advice for you. I'm with my friend Steve, my paisano, who's been with BenchWire since day one. Welcome, Steve. Welcome to fantasy prediction video.
I've
Start 'em,
loved it.
sit 'em, pick 'em. We got the advice right here. All of it. We
Yes,
got it for
thank
you.
you. That was a great intro. I loved it. That was like probably the best Benchwire intro I've heard in a while. Because like when I'm not doing the intro and someone else was doing the intro, it wasn't as like enthusiastic and like uplifting and happy like Justin's intro was. So, with that being
Thank you.
said,
All right, I'm just trying to be enthusiastic, bring an energy to it. No, it's
yeah,
fantasy. We got to get our teams
it's
better. We got to make the
fantasy.
playoffs. Deadline
Yes.
day happened. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes.
We gotta win championships. Let's go.
Okay.
So,
So,
how do you want to
what I
start?
wanted
You want to go with stardom?
um Well, I wanted to before we get into that, I wanted to show them our teams and what our teams are looking like going into the season,
Ah,
and
of
then
course.
we'll talk about our stardoms, our situms, and our pickups of the week. But right now, let's transition over to my team. And what's funny this week is both me and Justin are going up against each other this week in fantasy, so it should be a little fun matchup. So there we go. On the screen, you're seeing my team, the Gabagools. All right. So this is what my roster is looking like. So if you had, or you can't, I was going to say, if you had to think of what my record would be, what would it be? But my name says I'm now 6-6. So that kind of ruins the question and all that. But this is what my team is looking like. So I've had a major overhaul so far this fantasy year. I started out with Joe Burrow as my fantasy quarterback, and we went through a lot of changes in the Gabagool, roster haul. We got CJ Stroud now starting at quarterback, and he has been a great top 10 fantasy quarterback so far this year. Um, I've had James Conner all year, so I've kept him. I've drafted him, I believe, in the fourth or fifth round, something like that. Kyron, he was a waiver pickup because my team was dog shit to start the year. I started out 0-5, so But if you look at my record right now, I'm 6-6, so I've won the last 6 of 7. So you got to give me credit there, right? Adam
Six
Thielen
months
was
since the
an
trade. That's solid.
Yeah, Adam Thielen. I picked him up. Who did I drop? I dropped, I believe, Sky Moore. I drafted Sky Moore. What a bum he was. And Adam Thielen, what a blessing in disguise he was. That was another great pickup of the year. Tyreek Hill, I traded for him. I used to have Stephon Diggs, but I'm like, so what should I do to upgrade my team? I, proposed a deal, and my friend, he accepted it, and I was very, I don't know. I just didn't know why he accepted it. I was very like surprised that he accepted it. So I traded Stephon Diggs, and I used to have Chris Olave, and then I traded them for Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf right now is sitting on my bench. Um, I used to have George Kittle at tight end, but I gave him to Justin, and now Justin has George Kittle. Right now, I'm rocking with Taysom Hill, but that's because I have Dalton Kincaid, who is on a bye. So now you know that. Right now, Christian Kirk, I drafted him. He's been my day one flex guy. He's been very consistent. Bucks defense, I'm a streaming defense type guy. I go week to week with defenses. That doesn't matter. Then Brandon Aubrey, what a pickup that was. I did used to have Daniel Carlson, but the Raiders suck. So I had to go out and get a new kicker, and he's been very clutch. Rookie kicker, hasn't missed a kick yet in his young NFL career. So right now, that is what the state of my team is looking like. I can show you the bench too if you guys really want to see it. I don't know if you really want to, but let's look at it, right? So yeah, it's not a bad bench. Like there's solid guys that you could start some weeks, but there are a bunch of mid guys, but sometimes they pop off. So you got to respect that team. And I'm going to transition it over to Justin, and he's going to talk about
Mm.
his team because his team is so beautiful in every which way possible. So let me pull it up here. Give me 1 second. All right. There you go. Talk about your team. Love it.
What Steve didn't mention, though, I was not the guy that gave him Tyreek Hill. It was someone else. It was actually a 4-team trade that happened. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
gave
I
up
didn't talk about that, but yeah, you could talk
I
about
just gave
that.
up Dallas Goedert. I got George Kittle, as you can see in my tight end spot. But yeah, it was a massive trade, and obviously Steve has done very well since that trade. But those who were in the trade know who they are. Shout out.
Yes, exactly.
Of
If they're watching this, who knows? Who knows?
course.
I know one definitely is, but the others probably not.
Yeah. And shout out to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get started with my team. Dak Prescott, he's been playing like an MVP, but he was a pickup off of waivers. I picked him off. I picked him up, and he's been great. I do have Justin Herbert, so I needed someone to pick up to kind of back him up. And I thought Dak would have been great, but he's been kind of been my starter the past couple weeks. So been happy with him. And yeah, Austin Eckler was my first round pick. He's been a little bit off, but I do think he could get back on track in New England this week. And he's obviously a top 5 back in the league in fantasy, so he's a must start every week. Yeah, I do have Brees Hall started. I have Josh Jacobs, but he's on a bye, so he's on my bench. But I do let him. He's going to be a vital component to if New York just want to win. They do have to establish Brees Hall, so hoping for a big output there. And yeah, I do have a lot of San Fran players. I do have Ayuk as well. He's been good. He's probably been the number 1 receiver. I do believe he's been playing better than Debo this year. And yeah, he's been probably my receiver number 1, other than the next guy, Puka. Puka Nacua was yeah, like most guys had found him in waivers, had a big week 1, and then I picked him up, and he's helped my team ever since. I don't have the best receivers. I don't have a top solidified guy, so he's been a nice pickup. He's helped there. And yeah, George Kittle, who, yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the league, probably my favorite tight end in the NFL. I was happy to get him on the trade. He's been good ever since, playing top 3 tight end. Yeah, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's been inconsistent too. There's some weeks I sit him, and then every time I sit him, it feels like he goes off. And then when I start him, he does nothing. So I'm starting him this week. Washington defense could be had a little bit. But yeah, hopefully Tua doesn't just throw to Tyreek Hill. Not because I'm playing him, but it's every week and it's annoying. So mix it up. Go to Jalen Waddle. Sometimes it'll be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Look at the bench. Let's look at the bench.
Not so much you. I got the Jags defense started. That was a pickup, and Dustin Hopkins has been solid. I picked them up too recently. Yeah, but I got, like I said, Justin Herbert, who's been my primary starter for most of the year. Helped me to that 9-3 record. I do have Josh Jacobs. He's been great. He had a great game against KC. Amari Cooper's been pretty good. I started him a couple times just with Deshaun out and with DTR in. I just couldn't rely on him, but he's a good receiver though. But you got Flacco in there. Maybe he creeps back in there to start him if the matchup favors it. Khalil Herbert's been a good back too. Been pretty good. I started him a couple times. Foreman, when he got hurt, I had him on my IR. Foreman did a nice job for him too. I had him for a little bit, but pretty good back. And yeah, I got JSN too. Starting to pop off as of recently, but just a guy I thought it would do a little bit better, but still hold on hope and stash him for right now. We have Ravens D, who's been one of the best defenses in the league. I didn't want to drop them, so I'm just benching them right now until they get back next week. They're automatic start for me. Yeah, Jake Ferguson's been a nice backup tight end for George Kittle. And I got Mike Thomas on the IR for right now.
So there you go. Those are our rosters for fantasy football. Now that you got, the best fantasy football analysis out there on YouTube, Spotify, and all that, and BenchWire, let's talk about our startums, our situms, and our pickups of the week. So what we're going to do, I'm going to say my startum, then you're going to say your startum, and then you're going to say your situm, and then I'm going to say my situm. So we're going to go like the snake order of the fantasy draft, but with our startums and situms and our pickums. So, all right, my start of the week, it's a running back. He plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're playing a shitty team, the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be Rachaad White. You got to start Rachaad White this week. Rachaad White, he's been like a top 10 to 15 fantasy back all of this year, But when he plays those tough defenses, he doesn't have a great outing. But they're playing the Carolina Panthers. So if you don't start him this week, what are you doing? You got to start him. I think he will get at least, I don't know, I'll probably say in the range of 15 to 20 fantasy points, I would say this week. So he's definitely a start him this week. Yards wise, like if I had to predict his like stats, I would say he would get over like 100 total scrimmage yards. I think that's possible. I think that's doable. 2 touchdowns, I think that's very doable as well. So I feel like he will be a good fantasy running back, a good RB1 this week rather than his usual RB2 self. So definitely start him if you have him. So yeah, now hand it over to Justin for his stardom of the week.
Yeah, the 9-3 top dog. Yeah, he wants you guys to start if you have him. Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why? Well, I think he'll be vital. Him and along with Jalen Warren too. I think Najee is going to be big in establishing a run game. I do think they want to open up the pass game with Kenny Pickett. I do think they need to get the run going. So I do think Najee Harris is out to prove something. He's not having the season he wants to. I do think he gets back on track and has a nice game against the Cardinals defense that can be had a little bit. So I do think starting Najee is an interesting play. And I'm in multiple leagues, so I do have him started at my flex in my one league too. So I think he can get into the end zone even too.
I like that. Because Najee hasn't been that great this year, and I feel like he will get back on track, even though they said Jalen Warren is going to be the starter. But I feel like Najee's still that guy. He's still that bell cow, still that first-round pick from Alabama. He's still got something to prove. He's going to get it done this week. I like that.
He's due. When they play better defensive lines, forget about it. He can't. There's no holes for him to run. But I think they can create something with that Cardinals defense, though.
That's pretty much with any running back. You got a good D line, you can't block for him. It's not going to be a good day. It's not going to be a good day. But yeah, you can go with your sit-em now.
All right. My sit-em, a little bit controversial, but sit James Conner. I'm staying in the same game. Let's sit James Conner this week. Why? Their offensive line, not the greatest. The Steelers have a great defensive line. Where's he going to run? He's going to run into T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, the dogs in there? No. And I forget the linebacker's name, but he's like one of the best linebackers. I think it's like Landon Roberts or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's like the top linebacker and stopping the run. I don't see him. I know James.
Do a little Google search here.
Yeah, I think
you could keep talking though.
Yeah, I think James Conner. I do believe it's his first game back in Pittsburgh. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler. It's a homecoming game for him. He played at Pitt, but exactly. I think the Steelers spoil it. I think they try to they let Kyler Murray. They let Kyler Murray try to beat him with his legs. They make him throw it on them. They can throw on the Joey Porters, who covers all the land on this earth. Great cornerback. And they got Pat Pete. They'll be just fine. I don't see James having that great of a game.
Pat Pete, you're saying like Pat Pete's still a top 5 corner. They got Pat Pete.
He makes plays.
Yeah, but he's not the same anymore. He's old. He's washed. Stop it. But yeah, you're making me want to start James Conner more because it's a revenge game. I totally forgot about that. Now I definitely want to start him. I don't know if that's the sit of the week. You just want me to sit him so that he doesn't pop off against you. That's why.
No, definitely not. I'm giving you advice, man.
Oh, he's giving me advice. He's a top dog. He's 9-3. He knows what's up.
We'll see what he does.
We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm on the fence of actually starting him. I'm like picking back and forth. I don't know. I am. All right, I'll go.
I knew it.
I know. It's just my backs are so inconsistent. Like I got Ford and Madison. I think Madison's on a bye actually, so I think I can only go with Ford because Gus Edwards is actually on a bye too. So it'd probably be Ford this week. If I do not start James Conner, we will see. So my sit of the week, it's a receiver that's been having a breakout year. He is on a team that C.J. Stroud plays for. And no, it's not his favorite target so far this year in Tank Dell, it is Nico Collins. Because Nico Collins is going up against the Broncos. Who do the Broncos got? They got Pat Surtain. And Pat Surtain is one of the best young cornerbacks in this league. And he's been a big reason why the Broncos have won 5 straight games. I feel like, Nico Collins will not have a productive day. So if I were you and you had Nico Collins on your team, I would sit him. I don't think he's going to have a productive day. I feel like if the Broncos or the Texans win this game, and I think they will if you watch the predictions video, shout out the predictions video, right, Justin? Got to shout that out.
Shout out.
Yeah, but Dalton Schultz, I feel like Dalton Schultz will have a bigger day, and they'll use more of the running backs as well. Singletary's been great as of late. Dameon Pierce hasn't been the greatest back in the world this year like he was last year, but I feel like those guys will be more involved this game than Nico Collins will because of that matchup he's going up against. So if I were you guys, don't start Nico Collins. Sit him. Just sit him. Do you agree with that, Justin? I gotta get your input on it. What do you think?
He's been playing well. I don't know if I think their OC has been doing well, so maybe they scheme some things to get him open, but I don't know if Pat Surtain's going to travel with Nico Collins. If that does, then I think you're right on the money. But if he stays on one side and they throw out Nico Collins to him sometimes and maybe Tank Dell goes out on him, if he stays on one side, then maybe Nico Collins can still do his thing. But if it's a situation where, hey, just take away Nico Collins and we'll try to worry about the rest, then yeah, you would be right.
I'm right. I'm always right. Come on now. Let's
potentially.
Go. Potentially, I'm always right. Pick of the week. All right, so this guy, it's the best guy available in my league as a receiver and flex option. Now, I looked at his numbers, and he's been consistently getting over double digits. And if you're in desperate need of a receiver that's in a flex spot, I would pick this guy up. He's not like a guy that you immediately must pick up because, in our league, there's not many guys that are out there that are available that will be successful right off the bat. This is like a sleeper pickup of the week. And this guy is on the Patriots. So it's a Patriots player. The Patriots offensively, they're not the greatest. So keep that in mind if you pick up this guy. It's a receiver, and it's the rookie, Demario Douglas. And the reason being is they're playing the Chargers. So the Chargers secondary has not been the greatest this year. They did move off of J.C. Jackson. So with J.C. Jackson not in the fold anymore, and he's actually on the Patriots, so it's kind of a revenge game this week, which is kind of cool and funny at the same time. But yeah, I feel like the Chargers defensively, like their secondary, is not the greatest, except for like a guy in Derwin James. Other than that, I feel like Demario Douglas will get some targets. He will get open, and he will make you plays enough to get you 10 points in the flex spot. Don't start him as a receiver 1 or 2 unless you're in like an 18-man league and you really need this guy. You probably already have him on your team if you're in an 18-man league. That's how, this guy is. But with that being said, I would pick up Demario Douglas as my sleeper pick of the week. What do you think about that, Justin?
No, I mean, interesting. I do think he's been playing pretty well, but can the Chargers defense be had? Yes. I think they could Bill O'Brien could find some holes. So I do think it's an interesting flex spot for him. And I do think they're going to get him involved. Is it going to be Mac Jones starting this week? Do we know? Are they working through it?
They never know. They never know. Bill Belichick will never tell you until you find out an hour before the game. I'm guaranteeing that Mac Jones will start because he's a first-round pick. He's a guy that, knows the offense and could get the job done. It's just he's been playing some tough defenses the last few weeks, and you can't blame him. He doesn't have the greatest options at receiver, but Demario Douglas has been that guy the last few weeks that they've looked to. So I feel like that's why you have to pick him up if you're in desperate need of a flex spot.
Yeah.
So if
Nothing wrong with
you want to
that.
tell me your pickup of the week,
Ooh.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I know the BenchWire gang would love to hear it. The pickup of the week. I was searching through the waivers in our league. I did want receiver. I didn't go with Douglas, but I saw that Brandon Cooks was there, and I'm like, ooh, you know what? That's interesting. Why would I consider starting him? Because, well, number one, Dak's been throwing the ball really well, and Cooks' targets has gone up. He's been playing really well, and I do think if Seattle could try to take away CD, they could roll their coverage that way, and that could free up opportunity for Brandon Cooks to go off. So I would look for him, maybe potential wide receiver 2 play, but definitely a viable flex option for you guys if you need to fill a flex hole. I'll consider looking at Brandon Cooks this week.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I had a feeling you were going to say that, so I didn't say that because I would have said that and you would have said that, so that wouldn't have worked out. So I went with the sleeper pick of the week. There's not that many guys available in our league that are like, I must pick him up. So that's why I'm like, sleeper pick of the week. You got to go with Demario Douglas. But yeah, I like the Brandon Cooks pick. He's been getting more targets. Cowboys have been passing the ball a lot recently, and I feel like he should be on your team if you are in need of a flex guy. So I agree with that. I think that's it for this video. We got what we wanted to get done.
I
We
think
had
that's pretty much it too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it's in my other leagues, right? The pickup, Zach Moss was a pickup option I saw, so that could be
Yeah.
another good one too. If you need to go back with Taylor out, I would look for that too. Probably over Brandon Cooks, but I was going off of our league. Moss is already picked up, so I went with we went with Brandon Cooks and Douglas of the Patriots for our pickups.
So I guess we can end the video off there. Do you want to do the outro? I'll let you do it because you already did the intro. You might as well end the video.
I might as well give it my shot. My first outro.
Yeah.
So BenchWire gang, thank you for watching this video. Our fantasy advice of the week: the stardom, the sit-em, the pickups. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment how many points Brandon Cooks gives you this week. I would love to know. Does he win you the week? Maybe his 10 points, whatever he gets, could win you the game. We got to make the playoffs, right? So yeah, make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We'll be active on there. We're gonna get this channel bumping again. We're gonna get some new life, some new energy, and shout out. Yeah. And have a good night, y'all. Whatever time you're watching it. So, BenchWire
out.